the Sportsdesk part of the program. We are live. We're at Carriage Court Pizza. For those of you who might be watching on YouTube, we are southeast of Skirt School, Southeast Street, across from 219-663-6551. I've got that hungry feeling. Folks at Carriage Court can help you satisfy that hungry feeling. We serve a proud Southeast County community for a quarter century, and as you can see on the video, the pizza is still here. And me and JT, we took a big chunk out of it, folks. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's hard to resist, and no, you guys can't have that.
No, that is left for Andy. Well, no video last week, unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond our control, but it was a very intriguing night of postseason action. We were just talking before we shifted gears to the video part. JT, I was probably most impressed. You know what? I thought Lake Central was going to upset Penn 1 week ago, but Penn walked an AAA plus game and really dismantled that stout Lake Central defense. To me, I thought it was the most impressive game last week against Indiana.
Yeah, I expected it to be a much closer game, a lot more low scoring. I didn't think the points would come in bunches for Penn. I really thought Lake Central's defense would hold up. I was really impressed with what I had seen from them the previous week against Maryville and playing under similar conditions, playing on that same field with the very old grass. Penn came in there and they dominated. Once Lake Central got behind, it became more of, now we've got to ask our third string quarterback to win the game rather than manage the game. I believe 3 interceptions.
That being said, he's going to be pretty good. I think this year, him stepping up is going to be nothing but beneficial. When you look at him next year, I think he's probably going to be one of the juniors. I think he's going to be one of the breakout players to watch at Northwest Indiana next year.
What do you think about week 1? He was not even on the roster, on the Lake Central varsity roster. And now having all this experience playing several weeks now, I think going into next season he's going to have a leg up on a lot of the players in his class, in the sophomore class coming into the junior season. He's definitely got to be at least the starter going in the camp.
You would think.
You would think. So we got to commend him under the circumstances. I think he played very well for his part. Lake Central definitely does have a lot to look forward to for next season. Give some credit to Penn. I didn't expect them to come in and dominate the way they did. I thought it'd be a much closer game. And I think the upset definitely was far from it. So got to move on, and we'll see. We'll move on to see what happens.
Hey, you weren't alone. I thought Lake Central had a great shot too, but congrats anyway to Brent St. Germain. The game of the week last week, however, was played at Maurice Lotnick Field, not involving the Morgan Governors, as it was East Chicago or West Side. East Chicago had a huge second half lead before West Side made a mad dash only to come up 2 points short.
Yeah, that's the one thing you can't do against West Side. You can't sit on a lead, and I think East Chicago is more or less trying to run out the clock, and
what's this here?
you got to keep playing aggressive. You can't let off the gas pedal. That's what happened. And to be honest, BC was fortunate to escape with a victory there. But having said all that, gotta give Stacey Adams and his coaching staff a lot of credit. This team's come a long way, and winning their first ever sectional championship. Anything that they do beyond this point, they're making history.
So you know what? The way they are playing and with the personnel they have, they can make it to Indianapolis. They can make it. They got a great shot, I think. And plus a couple other things as well. And really last week was wet. Let's give a call to Bowman. Bowman, the final score ended up being 40-12, Brett Salier. But that was only a 10-0 game at the half. Bowman really tough with the bottom before Brett Salier asserted themselves in the second half. So give a call to the Bowman Eagles.
Yeah, they had a huge upset just to get into that game, beating Blue Grove the week before that, and this is a team that's been up and down all season long, been a roller coaster ride. You got to give a lot of credit. They got a first-year head coach and making it to the sectional championship and put in a pretty good fight. So, looking forward to next season. Maybe Bowman's going to be a team to look out for too, and maybe have a dark horse team looking ahead to next season possibly.
By the way, for those of you who might be interested, Bowman will be the answer to a future trivia question because they will be open the 2014 season in Cedar Lake as the first ever varsity opponent for Hanover Central. At least the first varsity opponent with the relaunch of Hanover Central. Oh, wow. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So, of course, Hanover will be the GSC next year. All right. Let's take a look to, well, for classes 1 through 5, it is regional championship week. 6A will be in the semi-states. Talk about the games that are closest to that he had at the outset, beginning in class 1A. A rematch from week 2. The Winback Warriors undefeated in 6 consecutive sectional championship. Head coach Tim Roth will be taking out the Pioneer Campers in beautiful Royal Center, Indiana. You ever been to Royal Center? Yes, that's the key word. 34-8 was the win for Winnebago in week 2. That was the Midwest Conference opener for both squads. That was in the words of George Lucas, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But obviously these teams played at a different level. Pioneer probably happy that Lafayette Central Catholic wasn't at 1A.
I think everybody's happy
yes,
that 1A this year.
Absolutely. But this has to be a very intriguing matchup right now between two familiar rivals.
Yeah, Winnebago has obviously been very untested in most games this year. Every game they've played has been pretty lopsided, but I must say this, Pioneer had a lot of very few starters returning from last year's team. Kind of had to, kind of start over from scratch, a lot of new pieces. But over the last several weeks, Pioneer has improved a lot. And with them playing at home, Winnebago has not defeated them, I believe, since the year 2000 at Royal Center. So it has been a long time coming for Winnebago on the road. It's a tough place to win unless you're LCC. Anyone else that's played Pioneer there knows how difficult it is to win there. Winnebago may have their best team they've ever had in school history there. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be a game. This is going to be closer than it was in week 1. And I would say Winnebago should be on upset alert. This game could honestly come down to the wire. What I think has to happen is Pioneer's going to have to be able to complete a few passes. The one weakness of Winnebago's team, I think, is their defense or their secondary. Their pass defense in the secondary. If Pioneer can complete a few passes, kind of loosen them up a little bit, they'll have a little bit more success running the football. But I think ultimately, I'm going to say Winnebago ekes one out. I think this is going to be a close game. I'm going to say 21-19 Winnebago in a close one.
You called it, JT, by the way. The last time Winnebago won at Royal Center, you had to go back to the 2000 season, August 25th of 2000 to be precise. It was a 19-12 win for Winnebago on the road. That was for the Winnebago team that was led by Coach Roth's son, the late Parker Roth, who, of course, that was the year Winnebago had a great run all the way to the semi-state. Winnebago has been dominant all year. Pioneers got it better. And normally, 30-48, normally when you have a second meeting, the gap usually closes. I think Winnebago's going to win this one again. I don't think it's going to be a nail-biter-esque as you're thinking, but I think it's going to be close but still comfortable for Tim Roth and the Warriors. I see this being like a 28-14 type game.
I could see that. I can see how it might turn out that way. I just think Pioneers play a lot better. I think they're definitely going to give Winnebago a run. I think this will be Winnebago's toughest game to this point of the season. This will be their toughest hurdle right here, this game, especially with kind of a rival, conference rival. I think it'll be a great game, but I'm still going to be Winnebago.
Other matchups in 1A, 11-1 Tri-Central, taking on 5-7 South Adams. And by the way, I like South Adams in this matchup. Much tougher schedule than Starfire in that matchup. Down south, you have 12-0 Eastern Hancock at 11-1 South Putnam and 11-1 Fountain Central and undefeated Linton Stockton. A heavyweight matchup there.
That's going to be a good one. You're looking forward to that game.
If I had to choose my 1A winners, Winnipeg, South Adams, Eastern Hancock, and Linton. Those would be my picks in 1A.
I still say Tri Central gets it done.
They've had a really nice year, really, you think about it. It's a football program that has not really done anything in their history. And George Gilbert, the former Clinton Central coach, has really changed the culture here in Sharpsville. All right, moving up to Class 2A. Bomber Nation is happy. They will be home the last home game at Rensselaer. I'm not sure what their field is today. You might know that because you've been there every time for the last few years. Because you are like the unofficial representative of Bomber Nation.
Yeah, I'm unofficial. I don't know what the name is.
9-3 Freeman heading to the Bomber to Rensselaer, who again kind of had a struggle in the first half last week against the Bowdoin Academy. They had to pull away with that 4-12 win. Freeman, I want to say third title in 4 years for Bob Holmes at the sectional level. Could be interesting.
And these teams have played each other, I think, twice in the last, 4 years?
Yeah, there was some epic games to remember a couple years ago in each other. I think overtime or overtime.
Yeah, overtime game. And I know some people were surprised that Greenland won last week. I expected Greenland to beat Woodland last week. I'll tell you what, I know Greenland isn't having quite as successful as the season as Rensselaer. I know they've got a couple of lopsided losses, but I think this game is going to kind of, go on par to what's happened in recent history between these two schools. I think this could be another back and forth game. I think it's a game that's going to be close in the fourth quarter. I look for Rensselaer to score a touchdown midway through the fourth quarter. I think they're going to win this game. I'm going to say 28-21.
Close game.
Bombers over Bremen. Bob Holmes is a heck of a coach, and he'll have his Lions ready. We saw him a couple years ago when they played at Wheeler. He runs a great program. He runs a very balanced attack offensively. And they're kind of used to being in this situation, having played Rensselaer a couple times in recent years. I don't think they're going to be intimidated. I think they'll be ready to play. And I think they're going to give Rensselaer a run for it.
Bremen is overcoming a 1-2 start, a 3-touchdown loss to Boca for the season, a 3-touchdown loss to Newberry, one of the rare teams to hold Newberry under 30 points all year, and a 24-6 loss to Jimtown. And they won close games the last couple of weeks, but Richard Sure must go to Woodland by a touchdown each. So definitely Bremen, Bob Holmes has done a fantastic job there. 4 years, he's got 3 sectional titles, trying to go for the regional title number 2, but then the Rensselaer Bombers, who have been tested in the regular season, really like, the Hoosier Conference helps them to right now. But you look at the Hoosier Conference, Rensselaer is still alive, Tipton is still alive, West Lafayette is still alive. And then you had a 14 that won with a bit of, Lafayette Central Catholic had their hopes derailed by Tipton a couple weeks ago. Wow.
Yeah, and Tipton does have a strong quarterback back too, and I didn't know that.
And Twin Lakes had a good effort against Jimtown. Very underrated conference.
It's a very strong conference, and I can see why Rensselaer. I know there's been so much talk about the formations of all these different conferences potentially happening. I can see why Rensselaer would want to stay put. They definitely get battle tested. Everything they need, they get in that conference.
They see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and you can see the success speaks for itself in the postseason. This conference is already important, so I think it's going to be a better game than most people would think. I think Rensselaer does score a late touchdown to win, but I think Bremen hangs around until the fourth quarter.
I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I can see your point with Bremen hanging around for about 2.5 quarters. I just think Rensselaer's too strong. They're going to wear out the Lions. I see this being a 35-40 time game. And by the way, Rensselaer, the power play of the week for Podium.
Power play.
Power play of the week.
Right,
Rensselaer. There you go. There you go. You can't figure that out. Water match today. Oakdale is at both teams at 9-3. How about down south? Yeah, 10-2 Southbridge taking out 10-2 Paoli, and two teams matching up in the score that were both with Lucas Oil last year. Both 10-2. Ritter Cecina.
Wow. And obviously, Ritter has a potential Mr. Football candidate on their team.
You're talking about Mr. Parika.
Yes. And now with modern day out, it's kind of opens the door for them, I think. For Ritter.
Well, you think so. I thought Ritter was my pick all year, though. The door hasn't been open. Ritter's been standing in the way all year, man. I'll tell you that.
All right. I'll give you that.
If I had to pick, my 2A picks, Rensselaer, Tipton, Ritter, and Southbridge.
Southbridge
at Paoli. At Paoli. You know, we catch a lot of grief about Pocket Conference, and they have a team in 3A. But you look, they've had some pretty good success over the year. Obviously, they got a state championship in Heritage Hills with a certain quarterback for the Bears was down there. They also produced a pretty good tight end for Tate Dilbert. But you look at the Pocket Conference, Heritage Hills has been a flag. Southwoods has made a couple trips to the state finals. North Posey took a trip to the state finals in the middle part of last decade. Tell City's been in the state finals. I mean, Tecumseh's they're not in the conference anymore, but they've been pretty good over the years. I mean, it's not a bad conference there in Southwest Indiana. Show a lot of love for the pack.
All right, Bob. Yeah,
so you're going to go after all that, you're going to go pay over.
I'm going to just wave a flag for the, PAC all the way.
Well, if Torrey Kornheiser could do the Canadian flag, they can wave my pet flag. There you go.
All right, I think I'm going to have to agree with all those points.
All right. Class 3A, 59 Broadway, and really this is probably getting with the real second season for Gray. They won their own invitation, known as Sectional 25, and their reward for Phil Mason and company headed to Jimtown City with a chance for the 59ers to exercise some demons from one of the most painful losses in recent memory. It's the 2009 regional where Gray marched down for the first possession of the game. Scored to go 7-0, and we were thinking, okay, here we go. Jimtown batted down the hatches, made a couple of key interceptions that quarterback Richard Schmidt, and kicked a game-winning field goal at the gun to end Andreas Hopes 10-7 that year. So 4 years later, Jimtown heads to 59-58 Broadway. Not the same caliber Jimtown team, but still it will be a very stern test for the Fighting 59ers.
Yeah, they've kind of had it easy the last 3 weeks. And, I know John Glenn kind of made a nice little run in the sectional, but they're just not on par with the elite 3A schools in the state. And I'll tell you what, Andrean is in a very nice situation having this game at home. And most likely, I think West Lafayette's going to be the favorite over Concordia.
It should still be a pretty good game, though.
So, potentially they could have the next 2 games at home, which is, it works out. They couldn't have asked for, a better setup. And, Jimtown just kind of grind it out. They're not a big play offensive team. They're kind of just typical smash mouth type of offense.
They're like Duke Bricks of not really an option team. They're just think of the Kirk Kennedy Little Red Dog team.
Yeah, and obviously Andrean has faced teams. They face Lowell, who plays kind of a similar style with Jimtown. So they're not going to say anything they haven't seen all season. It's going to come down to their mindset. They have to learn from the past, learn from the past team's mistakes. They have to up their standards, and they got to be ready for a 4-quarter game. They haven't really faced a tough opponent these last 3 weeks, and they got to be ready, mentally ready for a battle, for a 4-quarter battle. Because Jimtown's not going to be intimidated. They're not going to back down. If they get down, they're not going to be scared. So if Andrean matches the intensity brought forth by Jimtown, and they're able to kind of spread things out a little bit, they've got more speed, get the ball to their playmakers on the outside, and let the Silverman do his thing running the read option. they should have no problem. If they come out and they play with that intensity, they should have no problem winning this ball game. I'm looking at a 28-7 game for the 59ers. I think their defense comes ready to play. I think their offense kind of jumps on top of the Jimmies early. And I think in the second half, they more or less grind the clock and turn the coach.
If there's one concern, perhaps for Jimtown in this game, and head coach Mike Hale, by the way, you realize he's 63-14, so he's taking it over for Hall of Famer Bill Sharp. That's pretty doggone good. There is one common opponent that both of these schools will play. That's John Glenn. Jimtown only had a 6-0 win week 2, and Ray last week 42-0.
Yeah,
It's got to be a little bit.
somebody posted that on the page, and I
And it wasn't me, by the way.
I know. I get where they're coming from, but you play a team in week 2 as compared to 2.5 months later. There's a big difference.
But also, one thing that should escape Brand Jimtown has a 3-touchdown win over 5 section of January.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I can't afford to take the step back. You have to come ready to play, and you gotta just kind of have that mental determination that you're going to get this done. Jimtown doesn't look like much on film. They're not flashy, but
We said that 4 years ago.
you got to learn from the past. And I think this team will. In fact, Bob, I know this team will.
You better hope that they come through, or else it's not coming back from Boggy Township, mister.
I'm putting my cheese on the line. I'm not talking the cheese pizza here. I'm talking the cheese line. Lock. It's a lock. They're going to beat Jimtown, take care of business. We'll see them in semi-state. They're going to keep the dream alive.
I think Jimtown will slow down at the Silver Company, but I think Ed Gray is going to lock down that power running game. I just see them having trouble with Barajas, Penn Company up front. Jimtown's going to slow down Ed Gray in one of the best times, but I see this being, I'm going to say Ed Gray 24-7 over Jimtown.
Kind of similar things.
All right, other matches in 3A, 9-2, Wake Forest, and what's not yet. 9-3, Buff is at 5-7, Garrett Catholic, and a battle of undefeated Brownstown Central and Gibson Southern. Now, Gibson Southern was a team last year in the regional. They were down. I'm just saying, near the end of the third quarter to Charlestown, 49-7. They came back and win 50-49 to get to the semi-state. Yes. So I guess Charlestown will always remember the timeouts.
Yeah, I guess so.
That went right over his head.
They're the team.
Have you even seen it?
Yes, I've seen the movie.
Anyhow.
Denzel Washington's the man.
Yes, he is. Anyhow,
It's very inspirational, too. Took him to the Battle of Gettysburg. That infamous speech.
Not the battle per se, but the crowd.
The grounds were the battle.
Yeah, it would have been nice if Herman booed all of a sudden.
Supposedly, yeah.
Herman booed all of a sudden and looked at the time machine. Yeah. Anyhow.
Let's move on.
My prediction for the game, I like Ed Gray and West Lafayette for Buffy Gibson.
So West Lafayette?
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you on all those things.
All right, Class 4A, the game you can hear Friday night at American Broadcasting.com. The undefeated Newsbury Cougars head to Peter's to take on the Chicago Center.
Nice build up.
Yes. New Haven or New Prairie, we'll get to them
New
shortly.
Haven.
We'll get to them shortly. New Prairie, undefeated. First title, I want to say, since 2006 for the Cougars. That year they ran into a stout Norwell team led by one Chandler Harnage. Still a New Prairie. East Chicago, uncharted territory for the Cardinals. First ever regional appearance.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of 2009 when Wolfman finally got over their hump and won their first touchdown. Now East Chicago gets to host the regional turf field. They're taking on, kind of a grinded out offensive team, just like Morton did when they played Lowell. I'm not necessarily saying I think the game's going to be the same results. At least they dominated or something. But I have to say, having seen him in person, I'm impressed with the fact that they've stepped up to the level of competition these last 2 weeks. Being a pretty good St. Joseph team on the road, really dominated that ball game. They got me convinced. They got me convinced that they're for real. I saw what I needed to see from them. Taking the ball, they were able to line up yards in an exceptional offensive line, and they finished drives. They were good job finishing drives. They have not kicked a field goal all season long. And that's something that I might want to keep in mind. Kind of the lack of a strong kicking game could be a factor.
We have an opinion from Internet Land. Tommy Boy says New Prairie blowout city.
Blowout city.
That's what he says. I tend to not think so.
I think it's going to be closer, or as Lee Corson would say, closer than the experts think. I know a lot of people on my page are saying this game is going to be no contest, but I know that New Prairie has, they haven't seen the speed. They haven't seen a player like Carter or
Patrick Shaw.
Yeah, the speed factor, that's what makes Chicago's a huge advantage, is overall team speed.
Patrick Shaw, if it wasn't for Jalen Robinson, would probably be the defensive player of the year over Indiana. He's that good.
I've seen Chicago a little bit on film, and I gotta say, they're fast. All positions, they are a fast football team, and St. Joe has some decent athletes, but Chicago has great athletes. They have Division I caliber talent, and that's a big difference. Big difference maker.
Here's your X factor in this game. It's going to be the Chicago quarterback Fernandez. If he plays, makes some plays, takes care of the ball, turn the ball over with some key interceptions. If he makes a mistake, if he plays mistake-free, makes some big plays, hits the ball on the perimeter, the Carter, and then East Chicago is going to be a big time.
Yeah, so tackling becomes more of a premium in this game for New Prairie, because if they miss tackles on the outside against Martavis Carter,
you're going to see them brought to the end zone.
Yeah, I mean they don't have the speed on their defense to catch him. So anytime he's in space, they can't afford to miss tackles. I mean they have to be very fundamentally sound and tackle well in space. And having said all that, I've seen with the formula that New Prairie has this entire postseason, I think their formula is going to work in this game, because I think their offense will be able to stay on the field and run it out
short of the ball game.
Yes.
Short of the ball game.
Time consuming possessions, short of the ball game, and I think Chicago's going to eventually wear down the second. And like what we saw last week when they played St. Joe, we're going to see the same thing happen in the second half. And I think Chicago's going to get as many opportunities as they would get against a team like Westside if there's a little bit. So, having said all that, this, like you said, it's uncharted territory. I think New Prairie is kind of a team on a mission. I like the Cougars to be victorious and move on to the semi-state. I'm going to say
I see this being a back and forth game. I think you're going to see, as you mentioned, New Prairie, ground and pound, short of the game, tire up the defense, put the pressure on that Cardinals offense, and I think it's going to lead to a couple of turnovers at the end. I see this being a high-scoring game. I think New Prairie wins the shootout. I'm going to say 48-34, New Prairie. East Chicago is going to put points on the board. I know New Prairie has been very stingy all year defensively, but again, this is going to be the best athletes and speed you're going to see probably all year. If you look at the rest of the 4A field, maybe Columbus East might have some athletes, but not really. Wager is a Wager team. Chitar is Chitar. You know what you're going to get with them. Johnson had a great year in Jasper. Athletic-wise, we were just looking at athletic speed. East Chicago's the best left in their classic state in that field. They're going to put points on the board, but I just think New Prairie's going to wear them out. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I'm going to say New Prairie 48-34. and 11-1 Jasper. And 12-0 Columbus East. Yes, everyone's still alive in the story.
Yeah, no question about it. I still think, I know you kind of social turn all season long, and I started at Long College, and I kind of, wised up towards the end of the season. I realized I think Chitar's the best team in the team right now. Yeah, I've had a nice year. I think Chitar's schedule really does a nice job of preparing for games like this, and they'll be ready. Having been there and done it for so many years, they're not going to be intimidated by it. It doesn't matter who they play. They're going to come with that same mentality, that same mindset. So I think Chitar and Jasper take care of this. Like Jasper.
My picks, I'm going to go Duke Prairie, New Haven, Chitar, and Columbus East.
You think you make it over Bishop Moyer?
Yes. I am.
That would be an upset.
I don't know if it would be an upset. I mean, New Haven's only lost one game all year.
I think Bishop Moyer would be upset.
I don't know. Bishop Moyer lost away by 40 points this year. I mean, that was not a
Hey, they
great...
crushed Angola a couple weeks ago.
And, well, get about 11 people in this restaurant and crush Angola, too. If you're watching this in Angola, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. New Haven's only lost at the East Normal, 36. They have a 25-point win over Homestead, 45 to 20. 40 they're in the same ball. For the time being, they're in the same conference. But they just put 45 on them. They also had a 41-35 win over Carroll. So that's a 6-chance chance right there, too. So I'm going to go with New Haven for that one. All right, Class 5A, our locals are no longer involved. The closest match up here, 9-3 Mishawaka, who has gotten better with each passing week this season, taking on 9-2 Topboy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, ever since the opening 2 losses to Portage and Crown Court, Mishawaka has gone strong. They only lost the one conference game to Penn, but they ran everybody else, so...
After opening 0-2,
yeah, I think together, you want to talk about coach of the year candidates in the state of Indiana. I think with everything that Mishawaka lost from a year ago, to say that they're in this position right now. Yeah, nothing but respect for what he's been able to do with that program. And I tell you what, these two teams met last year in the regional and 4A. And
it's actually a semi-state action.
Or that's right. In the semi-state 4A, now they're in the regional 5A. So Mishawaka eked out, I think it was like a 24-21 victory last year.
Yeah, it was like, I think they kicked the field goal right at the end of when I think.
I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a similar type of game here, and I think Mishawaka is really providing a lot of confidence. The Concord sectional is not very good. It really doesn't. I think they played Elkhart Central for the championship.
That's not their fault, though.
No, it's not their fault, but I think over the last few weeks, I think Munster was a much tougher opponent, last week for Mishawaka than what Concord had. I'm going to say Mishawaka does what they did last year. I think they're going to get a close victory. I think they're going to keep their hopes alive. I think they will beat Concord by a very slim margin. I'll go with last year's score, 24-20.
Never underestimate the revenge factor, my friend. Never underestimate. Concord has waited a full year, just about, to get another crack at the caveman. And I got news for you. Sam Schrader's not on Mishawaka anymore, or his stable. They've gotten better and better, but I think Concord, with the revenge factor, being at home, they will exact the revenge on the caveman. I'm going to say Concord wins this one comfortably. I'm going to say 35-20. The wins from Concord at home over Mishawaka.
Just broke my heart, Tom.
Yeah. Other matchups in 5A, you got 10-1 Westfield at 9-2 Snyder, 7-5 McNeil at 9-2 Whiteland, and 7-10 Taking on 9-2 Terre Haute North. My choices are Concord, Snyder, Cathedral, and Terre Haute North.
The Concord game, I agree with all the rest of your picks.
All right, finally, we move up to Class 6A. They are in the semi-state level. It's Penn versus the MIC North Semi-State. Penn, after their dismantling of Lake Central last week, heads down to Carmel to take on the 9-3 Carmel Greyhounds. And can Penn do it on the road again? Have they made a believer out of you?
Well, I mean, I can't question that they're better than the BAC. There's a much, there's a much larger difference between BAC competition and mid competition. Big difference in athletes. You got a lot more Division I type athletes in your mid conference, and athletes across the board. On Carmel's team, they're better than any roster that they've seen all season long. So it's going to be a very large step up for their defense. Other than Zach Oakley, I think all the other athletes on that team are pretty much DAC caliber athletes.
Remember 2 years ago, this was a 5A championship game matchup. Remember that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Penn's defense actually played pretty doggone good in the game. Remember that? You know what the final score of the game was? 54-0.
Yeah, it wasn't close.
No.
Okay? It wasn't.
And I think Penn had like 3 takeaways in the red zone too, if you remember that game.
I know at the start of the game they had a couple of opportunities to get on the board early and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do the ball.
And they did. They made the takeaways. Penn's defense played good. I don't know how you can say that when you lose 54-0, but
I got news for you. There's a big difference between playing Lake Central and playing Carmel.
especially down there.
Yeah, Carmel's a whole other animal. The mix is it's like comparing the Big Ten to the SEC. There's just a big difference in competition.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie. I don't think this game's gonna be that. I think Carmel's gonna win this very, very comfortably.
35-7 Carmel.
I think that's a pretty good score. That's a pretty good score. I like the Greyhounds big in this game.
All right, the Southern matchup. Center Grove at Warren Central, 11-1. The Trojans are 9-3. The Warriors are. Jason West is trying to bid to become the first coach. I believe. Now I have to make sure. I'm pretty sure he's trying to become the first coach to win back-to-back state titles at 2 different schools.
That's crazy. That's almost unheard of.
Warren Central has survived the last couple of weeks.
I was really surprised that they beat Pike last week. I thought after Pike beat Ben Davis that Pike had a really good chance of getting to the dome. Now
They're not winning big or pretty, but they're winning.
yeah, that's how it's been all season. They've had
The last 3 weeks, 14-0, 14-7, 24-21.
you think about it, they've had a few games this season where they've jumped out to big leads and they've lost them. And the first fight they were 28-0, and they ended up losing.
38-28.
And then I think there was something. I think they jumped up on North Central and almost lost that lead. There was a couple other games where they really struggled in the second half of a lot of games this year. And then in the first meeting, I think Center Grove won was like
21-10. 21-10 down the area this time. It is on Indy's east side. Oh boy.
This is a tough one. This is a tough
You
game.
might want to take a road trip down there, huh? By the way, if you've ever been to a game at Florida, the facility is quite lavish. I've done a game or two down there in the past. 2-story complex.
I think it's going to be a great football game. You know, this is high caliber football, great teams, conference rivalry. The first game, it was really close most of the way. I know it was like 14-10. I think Center Grove scored a late touchdown to win. But
How many times has Center Grove got to this level and they didn't hit the wall? How many times? They broke through one time, and they had a great comeback against Carmel and won a state championship. But how many times have they been, especially last year, they ran into Warren Central, coached by Jason Westman?
well, I'm gonna tell you what. I think this game can go either way, and I can't give you a great philosophical reason for why I'm gonna make this pick, but I'm gonna say Warren Central exercises their demons from earlier in the season. I'm gonna say that they keep Mr. West's hopes alive of trying to achieve that goal of winning a state championship.
Back-to-back in 2 different schools.
I'm going to say Warren Central wins a close one. I'm going to say 14-10. Low scoring defensive game. These teams know each other very well. I think it's going to be difficult for both offenses to move the ball. I like Warren Central 14-10 over Central.
I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I'm going to say Warren Central scores late, goes for 2 and gets it. 20-19 Warriors.